I'm sorry we're a bit late today, but we had to have a couple of meetings and get some further information because I wanted to give as much information to the public as possible. So we have 8 new cases today, 3 are in overseas quarantine and 5 are locally acquired. I'll go through those in a moment. So we have 47 active cases. Yesterday we had 25,145 tests, which is fabulous. So thank you very much, Queensland, for doing the right thing there. And that's one of the keys to all of this, is making sure we have those really high test numbers. And yesterday we had 14,968 vaccines, so that's excellent. Now I just want to go through these locally acquired cases and then Dr Young will go into a bit more detail. So the first one we don't have much concern about, so a known contact from the Portuguese restaurant cluster and detected in hotel quarantine, so that's good news. The second one was the one that was reported late yesterday, the man in his 50s who lives at Aruna and worked at the Sunshine Coast University. We are confident now that it is likely to be linked to the Portuguese restaurant outbreak, so that's the Alpha strain. So we don't have too many concerns there, and his close contacts there have been tested and come back negative. Now, the next one, I really need the people on the Sunshine Coast, sorry, the Noosa area to listen to this. So we have a 29-year-old Brisbane man, and he has travelled to Eumundi, and he is related to the woman we talked about yesterday, and who's linked to that Carindale Greek Community Centre. Now, this man has been, early advice is he's been to Eumundi, Sunshine Beach, Kenilworth and Doonan. So if you are in any of those areas, we really need you, if you have any symptoms whatsoever, to get tested. We also understand that he and his partner also went to a restaurant at Sunshine Beach, so we are trying to get that information, so that will be updated through the media later on. So we have some slight concerns there about those areas, but I know that people around that area will be thinking very carefully about whether they live in those areas or work in those areas. And if you have any symptoms whatsoever, please come forward and get tested. Okay, so the next person is a woman in her 50s from Everton Park. Dr Young will go into a bit more detail, but my understanding is she works at the Prince Charles Hospital. She only worked 1 shift, not in a COVID ward, and had her first dose of vaccination. So Dr Young will talk about that. And then we've also just had in that we have a man in his 50s, a baggage handler who works in Brisbane Domestic Airport, lives at Carindale and is not a known contact. So in relation to these last three issues I mentioned, we are very closely monitoring those. We are doing a lot of work with the contacts, but we believe that our contact tracers can get on top of those issues very carefully. So now, for our Brisbane and Moreton Bay regions, and can I thank everyone for doing that extra day that we asked people to do, that gave our contact tracers that extra time that was desperately needed. So the lockdown will end at 6 p.m. tonight, but we are not out of the woods yet. So I want to talk about a few things that I really need Queenslanders to do, especially in the southeast and, of course, Townsville. Now, we're all in this together, and we've got to have our trust in one another, and we've got to act as a community together. And there are 2 key things, or 3 key things that are really important. The first one is, if you are sick, get tested. And I really need people, if anyone is feeling sick, any symptoms whatsoever, please come forward and get tested. The second thing that's really important is to wear your mask. These masks are mandatory. Now, there could be some other community cases out there, so we really need people to wear their masks. So the masks, and secondly, your phone. If you're going out, you must check in. I'm asking businesses, please do not allow people into your businesses unless they have checked in. If it means putting a staff member in to make sure people have checked in, this is vital for our contact tracers, especially over this period until the 16th of July, when the mask mandate will end. Now, I'm also asking people in this area for another key response, and that is our vulnerable group, our people aged over 70. Look, over the next 13 days, please, if you are unvaccinated, please limit your going out. Close family is fine, but please limit and think about, whether or not you need to go to a shopping centre, whether friends or family can drop some food over to you, because we do know there is virus out there. So we need everyone to pull together and act cooperatively and put our trust in one another and really think about the most vulnerable people in our community, because I think it's around over 70% have already been either vaccinated or have their first dose, but some of them haven't had their second dose. So look, it is just really important over these next days to really think about, if you're in the vulnerable category, do you need to go out and about in your community? And please limit that. So where you can stay home, please stay home, but if you're going out, make sure you wear your mask. So that's good news today for people in the Brisbane City Council and Moreton Bay. But as I said, we are seeing some cases popping up. We've had people in lockdown for a period of time, but now we really need to make sure, until the population, until we have people are vaccinated, we really need to make sure that people are doing the right thing with their masks and the check-in app.